I'm Marianne McDonough, Chief Marketing Officer at Irwin, and we are really excited to have all of you here for this select customer preview of Irwin Data Intelligence version 10.2. A lot of interesting enhancements in the release, everything from UI to security and accessibility, socialization and collaboration, roles in the framework, and really a ton more. So I'm just going to turn it right over to Kartik. He is going to actually give you a little bit of an intro from a features and benefits perspective, and then give you a sneak preview demo of some of this functionality, and then we'll leave some time at the end for Q&A and feedback. So I will turn it over to you, Kartik, to start to share and take everybody through it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marianne, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So before I get started, I'll just go off video. Just wanted to say a hi to everyone. And there we go. So let me know once you can see my screen. We'll quickly go through a deck at a very high level that kind of talks about what the new features are, and we'll jump straight into a point-and-click demo of the product. And while we are doing this, if there are any questions, please feel free to, bring up your questions. And at the end of the session, if you think you've not really seen a lot, or there are other additional points that you want to focus on, we'll be more than happy to get on one-on-one sessions with you and help you deep dive more into the features as well. So with that, let's get started over here. So we are really very excited to announce, our new 10.2 release that is, coming up very shortly. So some of the key areas that we have, invested on are primarily around business user-friendly data intelligence platform. So you will see a lot of new UI improvements in this new release, primarily around, the UI screens, around metadata management, business glossary management. You will also see a lot of features that have been significantly improved. So where you could potentially do something in a specific area, we've tried to make it available to the user on demand, so that they don't have to really go searching for that particular information. So there are small improvements like this that we made in addition to other bigger rollouts that we've run in this release also. So some of the key aspects are, we have a new UI menu in this release, which is much more cleaner and very easy to use for the end user. We also have, from a user management perspective, administrators of the tool will be able to easily onboard users and roles, and define what the security access model needs to be inside the tool. So you will see a little more of that also. We also have enhanced the business glossary manager from a UI perspective. So you will see new screens for all the different components of your business glossary manager. And from a workflow perspective, depending on the type of user that you are, and depending on the stage of the workflow that you've been assigned to, while you're working on a particular asset, you'll instantly be able to act on that particular asset and send the asset to the next stage, or send it back to the previous stage. So you now have that integration built directly on the asset that you're currently working on itself. And we also have a new conceptual mind map view that goes in sync with our logical view. So we've added an alternate view called as a conceptual view to help customers see the mind map in a slightly different perspective. So we'll drill down more into the details of that also. This is again something that gives you much more flexibility when it comes to visualizing what your business lineage looks like, or how the different assets within your organization, how they all come together. So this gives you a really nice perspective, and a different perspective compared to the other version that you are accustomed to using. And another key improvement on the UI side is also the fact that on the data lineage diagram, we have now provided the ability for end users to quickly click a button and see what attributes are sensitive. So across your data lineage journey, you can now easily identify which items have been classified as sensitive, and what level of classification has been applied to those particular assets. And for customers that are interested in seeing the lineage diagram primarily with the logical names instead of the physical names, you have the ability now to switch over to the logical names and see the diagram from the perspective of your logical names as well. So UI is a key aspect that we've improved in this particular version. Going further, We also, accelerated user and role management has been another theme that we've focused on for this particular 10.2 release. And what we mean by this, we have tried to make the process of onboarding users and roles, and for defining, security restrictions within the product, we made that, easily available to the administrators, and have also provided price reports that tells you who has access to what assets within the product platform. So now you can manage accessibility by both roles and users. So you have the flexibility. So you now can say, can go down to the user level and restrict access to the user level, or you can do it directly on the role itself. So you can say, rather than going down all the way to the users, you have the ability now to restrict this access directly at a role, and every user who has that role automatically inherits that access or inherits that restriction. And you also have the ability as an administrator to assign your assets in bulk, so that when you want to restrict access for a particular role, you can quickly go and flag what are all the business assets that this role should have access to, what are all the technical assets that this role should have access to. You pretty much do it from one screen and get done with it. And once all this is done, you can generate enterprise access rights report that tell you in your organization which role has access to what assets, or which users have access to what assets. So this especially becomes really helpful for you when you have an auditing situation and you need to publish an enterprise report from the product. So you can have both a visual graphical formatted report that you can export to image and capture who has access to what, or you can also export a tabular format directly to Excel that prints out what are all the different roles within your organization and what assets do they have access to. And another key area that we've also enhanced with this 10.2 version is customers now have have the medium to stand up a data governance framework that meets their governance standards. So what this means for you as a customer is you now have the ability to go and define what your data governance council looks like. So you can say that, okay, fine, in my organization, I want to document data stewards, data owners, and technical data stewards. Whereas another customer can potentially go and define a fourth responsibility. Say, I want a KPI owner, or I want a metrics owner for all my metrics. So you can pretty much define what your data governance council or your governance framework looks like, and flexibly use this to fit the need of your organization. And you can then start documenting responsibilities. So when you define a business term, you can define who's the data steward for this business term, who is the data owner for this business term, who is the technical steward who is responsible for associating this business term to the technical IT terms. So you can start documenting all these different roles and responsibilities. And once all of this is done, you can again generate enterprise-wide reports that in the form of a graphical report and a tabular report that tells you how which users are responsible for what assets within the platform. So this section at the top primarily focused on who has access to what in the product. This section at the bottom primarily tells you from a governance perspective who owns what assets or who is responsible for what assets. So you can follow up with those respective folks and get things going on your governance front. And this also nicely syncs up with our workflow manager. So if you can also configure these roles directly with your workflow stages, so that these users can be assigned to specific stages of the workflow. And when they have been assigned to a particular asset, they can, they get automated notifications from the product in the form of inbuilt product alerts and as email notifications as well.
Kartik, this is Don from Protective.
Yes, Don.
I noticed on the previous screen you had a button for data literacy. Are you going to talk about that later?
Yes, we will come to that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And going further, another key area that we, another key theme for us on this, in this release has also been trying to, help customers automatically discover, potential matches and sensitive data using our AI match engine. So what this means is, as a customer, you have your business assets already created, you have your technical tables and columns already harvested. You can now use the AI match library to have the tool suggest what are potential matches for you. So if you have a customer identification customer identifier on the business glossary side, or a customer identification number on the business glossary side, the tool can suggest to you that here are all your customer identification matches. So there is a CID column in this particular database. There is a cust underscore ID underscore num column in another database. So the tool will help you find all these matches, and you can these and approve all the necessary matches. You can also create a specific glossary of critical data elements, primarily from finding out what your what sensitive data elements exist within your organization, and the tool can also help you find match algorithm as to where sensitive data lies within your organization. So you can have a critical data element set that consists of your credit card number, social security number, debit card number, first name, last name, email, etc. And then the tool will automatically look at these critical data elements, look for matches on the technical metadata side, and tell you what all systems have these matching first names, matching social security numbers, and so on, social security number fields and so on, so that you can potentially flag these as sensitive from a compliance perspective. So we'll touch base on that a little bit later, during the point and click demo as well. And another key aspect of this release has also been to enrich our socialization and collaboration capabilities in the product. And this is primarily being done from the business user portal. So what we have done or are doing from the business user portal is enhanced socialization. So business users will now have the ability to look at assets, and they'll be able to mark assets as favorite, so that they can easily go back to those assets when they log back into the tool. Very similar to what you do on the Apple store when you go through your iTunes, for example. You look at different songs. You can mark your songs as favorites, so that you can easily go back to them. In a very similar perspective, you can quickly flag your assets as favorites, so that they are readily available for you when you go back to the tool. And in addition to this, you will also have the ability to rate assets. So when you look at an asset, you as the business user will have the ability to rate on it. You'll have the ability to provide your review on it. So the experience is very similar to what you would do when purchasing a product on Amazon, for example. So you look up what the star rating is for that particular asset. So whether this is a widely used term or is not a very widely used term within your organization. Or if you have two customers, which one is the highly rated one, so that that's the to go term for you. So you'll be able to rate on it, and you'll be able to see the average of all ratings that has been that the tool derives based on all the user ratings. You will also have a Google-like search screen that which uses Elasticsearch behind the scenes and will help you easily find assets across the landscape. So you can just go and type a name customer, and the tool will tell you where it found customer matches across your business assets, where it found customer matches across your technical assets, whether it is in the table, whether it is in the column. It parses the table name, the table definition, column name, column definition, a breadth of different properties, and it uses Elastic Engine, so Elasticsearch behind the scenes, so that the search results can be generated and rendered to you in a matter of a very few in a matter of a few seconds. So you'll be able to find out you'll be able to use this Google search like capability, and find assets in a much more easier manner in the business user portal. And you'll also be able to create to-do lists. So what this means is, you can drill down into an asset, and on that particular asset, let's say you actually need access to the physical table in the repository, or you need to look at the data in that particular table, or you think that you're seeing a lineage, for example, and you think some of the attributes have not been properly mapped, or you have a question on a particular table, or you have a question on a particular term, and you want to reach out to the relevant data steward or to the data owner. You'll be able to do that by creating a to-do request list, and you'll be able to send out a communication directly to the respective individual. And in the new version of the business user portal, you'll also, from a security and accessibility perspective, you will also have ability to lock down access based on role and user. So depending on the type of role that is logging in, if that role only should access specific environments so that they don't see all the metadata, or they should only see specific catalogs so that they don't see all the business term glossaries, you can now have restricted access based on role or user, so that when you log in, you have a subset of data that you actually need to view. So these are the primary themes that we focused on for the 10.2 release. And with this, I will go into the product. So before I go there, any questions based on what you've seen so far? So I'll just be, referring to, some of these slides as we go through the point and click demo. So going to the login screen. So here's the login screen to version 10.2. So let me go ahead and log in over here. So one of the first things that you will notice in this new version once you log in is you have a new navigation bar right at the top. So this navigation bar is something that gives the product its unique branding. And what we have done with this version is we have a new menu as previously mentioned. So you can toggle and navigate through your different components as required. And as an end customer, you now also have the flexibility to brand the application according to your corporate color. So what this means is, you can go into a settings area and you'll be able to go into a specific screen where you can configure what your menu theme looks like. So if you are a customer whose primary color is orange or your primary corporate color is red, you'll be able to go here, disable the default theme. You can pick your own corporate color over here. Let's say, red is my corporate color. So I can pick red. I can upload my logo as well. So I can click, my logo here and say, okay, fine, I'm Impressive Insurance. This is my, company that I'm, this is the company that has purchased the product. I can put in my color here. I can pick my logo and click save. And the moment I do that, the application is automatically rendered to my corporate color and the menu also renders accordingly. And you will also see the client logo. I just did not enable that. Let me just go back and enable the client logo. That should be enabled as well. So you'll now be able to see your, the application branded to your organization's perspective, both the menu and the header bar as well. And in general, going into Resource Manager, we've also enhanced the UI of the Resource Manager so that now, when an administrator goes in, they can easily identify who the different, users are. So you will now see user icons and you'll easily be able to identify, who your users are. Same thing for roles as well. You can easily navigate through your roles and you can get enterprise reports directly from this interface. So you can see across your organization, what are the different roles and what are the different users that have been assigned to each of those roles. And can I just take a pause here? And if you don't mind, can I just ask folks that are not talking to please go on mute, getting a lot of background noise. Thank you.
Karthik, I can't mute everybody because if I do, I mute you too. So.
Sorry, not a problem. Yes, I think this is better now. Thank you. So you now have the ability to run enterprise-wide reports also that tells you, how many users have been set up for the product, what kind of roles they have. You can export this to Excel as well. And going back, we also have enhanced the Business Glossary Manager. So you have a completely new look UI for the Business Glossary. So when you go into the Business Glossary and you start looking or drilling down into business assets, you will now see a completely new look UI. So we've upgraded the product to a material UI theme. So you can see all the information, grouped into their respective components. So you'll see all the, asset details. If there is workflow associated to it, you'll be able to see, what stage of the workflow that asset currently is in. And if you're the user that is responsible for that particular stage or is responsible for, sending it to the next stage or rejecting it for some reason, you will have the ability to, click this button and send it to the next stage or send it back. We also have this data governance section here where you can dynamically document who is responsible for this particular asset. So you can define, flexible roles, which we'll, come to soon as well. You can also classify, whether this particular attribute is sensitive or not, and what level of sensitivity needs to be applied to it. And you can see the entire audit history as to who created this term, who last modified it. And if you want to see the full audit trail, you can go into the history tab over here and see a timeline of all your changes. So you'll be able to see, what changed, in a particular month, what changes were made. This particular user, this user changed the status, whereas this particular user actually updated the record, and you can see, what edits, were made on that particular attribute. And you also have a new look rich media library for all your business assets. So whether you're uploading, Word documents, PPTs, image files, audio files, etc., as supporting documentation for your business assets, you'll be able to, see a new view for all your rich media library components as well. And you'll also be able to see, what are all the different associations that you've done for each of your assets as part of this association screen here. Drilling down into the, from the associations, nicely going into the mind map, we have a new conceptual view that we've added with this particular release. So for this term customer, if I go into the mind map, this is the new conceptual view that has been added. So the previous view that existed, that has been rephrased to logical view. So you still have logical view available. So this logical view gives you the flexibility to go and view your associations in a layered manner. So you can go asset to asset to asset. So when I hit the expand all button over here, this goes in a standard structure, or it flows from left to right or right to left. So you can expand this asset further and see, what are the two, associations, further, assets that are associated to this. And this continues to expand in a tailored manner. So we've for for greater flexibility and ease of use for end users, we've also provided this conceptual view that pretty much is, if in simple terms, I can call this as a scattered view of assets. So I can see, starting from a customer, what are the different assets that are associated to customer. I can click this expand all button and I get this scattered view of assets. So I can see that this customer is associated to these specific assets. But from here, let's say I want to drill down into customer email. So if I want to see what customer email is associated to, this will just reconnect the dots on this interface here and show you what other assets this customer email is associated to. Similarly, if I want to see what customer first name is associated to, I can expand this and this will again reconnect the dots. So rather than going layers by layers, this kind of auto fits itself within the same diagram and pretty much goes across objects to show you a different type of a visualization. And this is again something that a lot of graph databases and all use primarily. So it is again a new visualization that has been provided in the product here to give you the flexibility to toggle between both views. And while you're on this view, you also have the ability to pretty much click on a particular asset. So let's say you have a diagram, a nicely loaded diagram that is available for your view over here, and you want to narrow down on a specific subset. So let's say you only want to see the associations for customer email. You can click on customer email, everything else gets blurred, and the system only shows you the immediate connections to customer email. So this way you again get a narrowed down view of what your immediate connections are or immediate associations are. And on this view, you also have the ability to pretty much, if you think this diagram is, too, let's say it's too overwhelming and you have a lot of, information that you're seeing here and you want to potentially, remove some of these assets that you're not interested in. You can go into your preferences and pretty much take the assets off that you're not interested in viewing. So let's say I don't want to view everything. I only want to view columns, business term associations, and maybe business policies that are associated to these terms. So I can, take everything else off and just, use these three assets. So this gets set as my preferred view. So as an end user, every time you come back to this diagram, the tool remembers what your previous setting was, and it renders the diagram accordingly so that you see data that you are primarily interested in. And you also have the ability to potentially, you also have the ability to view the statistics or association count for each of these assets so that the diagram that this particular asset has no further expansions. So you see a count of 0 against this. So this has no expansions. This has 0, so no expansions. Whereas this has 2. So that there are some further expansions. This has 1. So I know this has further expansions. So which one to expand intuitively and which one doesn't have any further expansions. So you have the ability to set that count on your preference as well. And that again gets set as a preferred setting for you as the end user. And this diagram, in addition to the logical view, can both be exported out to an image format. So you have a download button that exports it to an image format. You can also export this to an Excel format as well, which gives you a flattened view of all the associations and all the types. And going into the data lineage UI, if I just flip over to Mapping Manager, so you can access the data lineage both from the Mapping Manager and the Metadata Manager components. So if I go into Mapping Manager here, just as to use it to access it from here, I can start from a system, environment, table, or column. So let's say I start on a table over here. So I can start from a table. And I can expand this or auto fit this here. So what we've done in this version is, let me just close this and open a bigger report. Okay. So in this version, again, you now have the ability, while you're viewing the data lineage, you have the ability to flip over to the logical names. So if you are an end user that is more accustomed to, analyzing or visualizing the data with the logical names and not the physical names, you will have the ability to click this logical name check. Diagram will automatically, add the logical names on top of the physical names. So any attribute that has the logical name will show with the logical name, in a bolded manner. And any attribute that does not have a logical name, it will fall back to the physical name. And on the same diagram, if you also want to see what attributes have been classified as sensitive from a sensitivity perspective, you can click the sensitivity indicator checkbox. And this will automatically show you all the columns that have been flagged as sensitive and indicate the sensitive ones with a red dot. So the red dot indicates that the particular column is sensitive. And far right for every table here, you will also be able to see what level of classification has been applied to it. So you can see that these attributes are all PII, whereas if you go down here, you can see some of these are confidential and some of these have been classified as restricted. So you can now, on this data lineage diagram, see what assets have been flagged as sensitive and have the option to flip over and use the logical names as well. And if you're a customer that is using the expanded logical name, you can flip over between the logical name and the expanded logical name and view the information using the expanded logical name attribute as well. And in general, the UI of the application has been enhanced as well. So all the grids and all have been, the UI has been made much more flatter. The general styling and all has been improved as well to make it much more user friendly to the business users and also to in general any end user that is logging into the product. And from a security and accessibility perspective, what we've also done is now when you go into Resource Manager, you now have the ability to, again, depending on the type of organization or what your best practices are, you have the ability to restrict access by user, or you have the flexibility to restrict access by role as well. So when you go into a role, let's say I pick this role as an example. So when I click on this data steward role, you can set the permissions as to what this role can do in the product. So whether they can only view something or whether they can edit something, what components of the product they can view, what components of the product they can edit, and so on. In addition to this, right from this new screen, so for every role you will have an access rights tab. So when you go into access rights here, you will be able to quickly flag the different assets that this role will have access to. So let's say I go to one of these roles over here. You're starting from scratch, or you've just stood up the product, for example, you will not see any assignments here as a default. So you'll just click on all assets, pick all the metadata environments that this role needs access to. So check. Pick all the mapping projects that this role needs access to. And then pick all the glossary catalogs that this role needs access to. So you can pretty much do all your assignments directly from one screen over here. And while you do this, you have an enterprise dashboard over here that tells you particular role, what how many assets they've been assigned to in the product, how many users have been assigned to that particular role, and what is the breakdown of it. So of the 11 assets, 4 are metadata assets, 3 are mapping projects, 5 are business term catalogs, and so on. So this way, you can also run an enterprise report on top of this, which I'll come to right here. So once you've done all this configuration either by user or by role, access enterprise access rights report that will actually put all of this information together in a nice visual graphic for you. So you can see based on a on a role view what access each of these roles have within your platform. So you can see this data steward. This has this data steward has 5 users assigned to it. Who are those 5 users? This data steward role also has 9 environments assigned to it. What are those metadata environments? What is that one mapping project? What are those 5 glossary catalogs? What are these 2 business policy catalogs? So you can get an enterprise view here. So you can expand layer by layer, or just click this expand all button over here and expand everything in one shot and see. And then if you want to take a snapshot of this for auditing purposes, you can export this out into an image format by clicking this export button. Or if you want to switch over to a tabular view, you can switch over to a tabular view and get the same report as well. And here you can apply additional filters in case you want to see specific roles or specific assets. You can apply additional filters and export this to Excel as well. So this again helps you with all your auditing and compliance requirements, where you can quickly go and publish a report as to who has access to what in the platform. And by looking at this, you'll also be able to infer whether a particular role has been given too much access, or and whether you need to take some access off, or whether a particular role has been given limited access and you need to increase the access rights. So all of that can be controlled now by using this access rights framework. And all of that can be done directly from the resource manager module itself.
Hey, Karthik. Can we give business user portal here too?
So the business user portal will also have similar capabilities. It'll be in the business user portal. So right now, the user base is different for both, but you'll be having a similar capability in the business user portal as well. You'll be able to restrict, not from DI yet. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And going to the next aspect, talking about a flexible data governance framework to your governance framework for documenting the required responsibilities. You now have the ability to go into this governance responsibility section over here and stand up what your governance framework should look like. So let's say you want to you have data stewards, data owners, and technical data stewards in your organization, and you want them to be assigned to certain business terms as those business terms are being created, so that they can act upon those terms. Or you want, let's say, you're creating a separate repository of KPIs, and for the KPIs, you want to have a dedicated governance role called KPI owners. Or you're creating another repository for metrics, and you want to create another role called metrics owner. You now have the ability to create any data governance role on the fly over here. So you can click the button here to add a new data governance role. So let's say this is called a compliance manager, for example. Let's say I want to assign for every asset, I want to mark who the compliance manager is. I can create a compliance manager over the role over here, data governance role. I can give it a description, and I can also give it a display order, so that if a particular asset has more than one documentation responsibility, you can define what order this particular data governance role should display with or display in. And then you can enable this so that you can start using it for your assets. And once you do that, you can then pick and choose, which so as to identify which users need to be populated for this role. Let's say from your LDAP you have a compliance manager role that's already coming, or you have a generic business users role, or you have a subset of business users. Let's say you have business users from a dedicated client or from a dedicated region. You can pick those specific roles, and you can see what users are, so that those users tie up to this new data governance role. So once you do this, you can assign this directly here. And then once you go to an actual business asset, you will now have the ability to differentiate the different roles for each of your assets. So when you go to a business term, and if I click on a business term, for a business term, you'll be able to see who your data steward is. And if I've created, I want to capture a metrics owner, or maybe I've incorrectly done this, I can quickly go and take this off. Or I want to capture a data governance manager. I can see for my business owner who my data governance manager is. But if I go to my KPI, I want to see only a KPI owner. So when I click on a KPI over here, I will only see who my KPI owner is. So this framework or this new feature gives you the flexibility to scale on demand, and it also gives you the ability to define what your governance framework is, and tailor fit that to the DI product. So I can go here and say I want to add more KPI owners, and this is not just one-to-one. You also have the flexibility to assign multiple KPI owners for every asset. So I can click the edit button here and say that, okay, fine. In this case, it's only 2. So let me just exit out of the screen, go back to my business terms. So let's say I want to assign multiple data stewards to a term. So when I go here, I can assign a data steward and say that, okay, fine. This person is also my data steward, and this person is also my data steward. So multiple data stewards assigned. So you can assign, restrict it to a single data steward, or you can assign multiple data stewards as well. In case you want to assign a data owner, you can assign who the data owner is. And if these individuals are responsible for a certain stage of the workflow, they will directly automatically link with the workflow. So when you hit the save button, an email notification will also be sent out to them that they've been assigned to that specific section of the workflow. So this way you can document what your data governance, who your data governance, owners are and what are they responsible for. So once you've done this, you also have the ability to pretty much, do a bulk assignment also. So let's say you've, through Excel, you've, bulk uploaded a bunch of business terms or business assets, and you don't want to go into each and every term and, do individually. You can do it at the catalog level itself. So you can click on a particular catalog and switch over to the grid view, which gives you the ability to, select one or more terms. You have the ability to, select multiple terms over here, or you can just select the root button so that you can select multiple assets in one go. And once you do this, you have the ability to update your data governance assignments. So when you do this, you can now say, fine, for this particular catalog, I only have defined data stewards, for example. So for all these terms, I want these two owners to be my data stewards. So you can pretty much do it in one shot from here. And you have the ability to add to the assignments that have already been done, or you have the ability to override your previous assignments and use these as new assignments. So you have flexible options here as well. So once these options have been assigned, you can go back into the resource manager and you can go into the report section and generate an enterprise report. So now you can see how your data governance structure is being federated across your enterprise and who's responsible for what. So the tool derives all this information based on all the assignments that you've done. So you can now generate an org chart kind of a report that will tell you, who your different KPI owners are, who your different metric owners are, who your different, data owners and data stewards are, and so on. You can expand each of these nodes individually one by one. I can see that, this data owner further, drills down into, these specific, roles. From there, I can see, who the users are and, what they are responsible for. Or I can just hit this expand all button here. So I get a fully flattened out report over here. And I can see, who my, for example, if I, go here, I can see, who my KPI owners are, for example. So I can drill down into each of these, individual owners here and see who my KPI owners are. So, I have Ivan and Ricardo who are my KPI owners, and they are responsible for these, specific KPI catalogs. So Ivan is responsible for 2 business terms under quality. Ricardo is responsible for 3 KPIs under finance and 2 under quality. And if I want to see what these 3 terms are, I can just double click this and, see a flattened view. Or if I want to get a full exported view as well, I can just switch over to the Tableau view over here and filter this report on a specific criteria if I want, on a specific asset type or on a particular user or on a particular governance role, and export this out to Excel as well. And going on to the next one, going on to our enhanced AI Match library, you now have the ability, if I just go back into the product, you now have the ability to potentially have the tool suggest automated associations between the business terms and your technical columns, or between any of your custom assets and your technical metadata columns. You have the ability for the tool to automatically, suggest associations, or for the tool to help you find where sensitive data is within your organization based on a catalog of critical data elements. So if I go into the business glossary here, you will now have the ability. You can, from a sensitive data perspective, let's say you want, the tool to go and automatically find, where sensitive data is within your organization. You have the ability to define critical data elements as a glossary of terms under under your business glossary, or you can create that as a specific asset in itself. So the tool gives you, that level of flexibility to configure, how you want to define that asset, whether it needs to be another catalog of terms under business glossary, or whether you want to define it as a specific asset in itself. And this is something that we will be packaging, as a predefined template with the product. So you will now have the ability to, have a repository of different critical data elements that are used, across most organizations. And the tool will come with pre-built templates or pre-built files for GDPR and CCPA. So in support of the GDPR regulation and the CCPA regulation, we will also be packaging GDPR policies, GDPR and CCPA policies, which will be tied to your GDPR and CCPA glossaries, which will in turn automatically tie to the respective critical data elements. So you'll be able to do that by just importing the packaged templates that will come with the product. And once you do that, you will then be able to use the AI match engine to automatically find matches on the technical side, so that you can automatically flag them as sensitive and also automatically link them to your technical elements. So once you've defined your technical data elements over here, like first name, last name, credit card number, date of birth, driver's license number, and so on, you'll be able to go into the AI match engine over here. I'm sorry, into the AI match module. And here you'll be able to configure your job, and you can also tell the tool as to what results you want to see. So you can define that threshold. So you can pretty much control that you only want to see any matching results that are over 70% or any matching results that are over 80%. So you can define that threshold here as well. And once you've configured your schedule, if you're running this on a periodic basis, as your updated and as your metadata is being ingested or harvested on a periodic manner, you can put this on a schedule, and you will have visual indicators here that tells you when the next job is scheduled to fire and at what time and so on. You'll be able to go into automated column matches, and here the tool will walk you through what you want to do. So you can begin with selecting either let's say you've come here to do associations. So you can select your starting point, whether it is business terms or critical data elements from another asset altogether. So let's say I select classified elements over here. So I can then continue, and I want the tool to automatically suggest sensitive detect sensitive data for me. And at the same time, I wanted to automatically suggest associations also and associate the columns as well. So I can do all that selection over here and say that, okay, fine, the elements that I'm looking for, I want to flag them as PII. So I can provide that info upfront if I want. And then I also have the ability to, once I find attributes which are sensitive, I want the proper classification to be propagated to the parent table environment and system and to the business asset also. So I have indicators for that as well that are disabled. That are enabled by default. So once I proceed, the tool will now show you all the matching criteria. So here the tool uses algorithms behind the scenes that go into the physical aspects and logical aspects of your physical metadata. So the tool looks at logical names and the physical names and arrives at the relevant matches. So you can see that for credit card number, it found a match CCN, it found a number match from system and credit space card space num. Similarly, if you scroll down, it found a DOB match, only one single match, which is 100%. Then it found some debit card matches for you. It found some driver's license matches for you, and so on. Then it also found a social security number at the end. So these are again tools that you can potentially leverage in order to accelerate and get a good head start during your governance initiatives. And we have 15 more minutes, so I'll just quickly jump over to the business glossary and show a few enhancements that are into the business user portal and show a few enhancements that are coming in the business user portal as well. So I'll just launch the latest version of the portal that we have. So in the latest version of the business user portal, as previously mentioned, you'll be able to go into your technical assets or your physical assets, and you'll be able to mark them as favorites. So you'll be able to search for assets. So you have a search specific to every asset, or you'll also have a Google-like search screen as well that you can use to potentially search for information across all your assets, and that will leverage Elasticsearch and show you all the matching results and it will group them accordingly. So you can see what your 100 column matches are, what your 25 business term matches are, and so on. And in the product, you'll also be able to once you search for the assets, and let's say this is your search results, you'll be able to flag an asset as sensitive. As favorite, so that the next time you come back, you don't have to go searching for it. You'll easily in the tool, when you search for it, it'll automatically rank it, show it or sort it by your favorites. It'll also sort it based on ratings. So here you can see that this account analysis term has a 5-star rating. So if there are multiple reviews provided on this, you'll be able to see who are all the users that provided ratings for this. So you can see how many ratings were provided. And the tool will roll up and average out the ratings and show you what the average star rating is for every asset. And when you are viewing a particular term, you'll also be able to filter on a particular rating as well. So if you want to only search for favorite assets, you can flag all your flag and search assets that you've already flagged as favorite. or you further want to see only 5-star assets, you can further narrow down your search on these specific assets. And in addition to this, you'll also be able to easily create a to-do list on each of your assets. So what that means is, you'll be able to jump on a particular asset, and you'll be able to. I'll just switch over to another screen over here that helps you, visualize what a to-do screen looks like. This is currently in development and will be available, once we roll the version out. So you'll be able to create a to-do list, and for every to-do list, very similar to how Microsoft To-Do works, you'll be able to create some, tasks. And for each of those tasks, you can, assign the responsible owners. So you can pick and, assign this to a data steward in case you want a definition of a business term to be corrected. You can, send a note to the data steward that, there is a typo in the definition, or the definition needs to be enriched, or, certain aspects of a particular, table or column need to be enriched, and so on. So you can do all that level of collaboration by using this to-do list from the business user portal. So with that, these are some of the key features that we've added in version 10.2. There are again a lot of other features also that we've not covered on this call here today. So as we roll this version out, I'd also like to call out attention to the fact that we have a beta version that is available. So if you are interested in deploying the beta version and want to evaluate it before you upgrade to the GA version, please reach out to us, and we'll get you the beta version and provide the necessary assistance with helping you deploy the beta. So just let us know, and we are here to assist you. With that, I'll open the floor out to questions.
When's the planned release date for this? The general release for it?
So we plan to go live mid-November, around the week of November 16th.
Other questions, folks, or feedback?
This is great. Thank you.
Question. I'd mentioned data literacy before, and I don't know if you've had any enhancements to that.
Yes. Let me just go back. Yeah. So data literacy, in effect, is our business glossary manager and our business user portal put together. So it's primarily for something that the business users typically tend to use in order to enrich metadata within their organization and provide the right level of business context. So data literacy is where you will see your business glossary, your business user portal, and the new AI match component that helps you automatically bring, or rather, helps you enrich the business terms with the right, technical context to it. Are there any specific questions that you had on the data literacy front?
So there were no updates to it with 10.2?
So with 10.2, so we have enhanced. So the business glossary manager has been enhanced. We have a a new UI for the business glossary manager. The mind map, we have a new mind map layout. We also have the AI match library that has been enhanced to do all these auto matches for you between the metadata and the between the business metadata and the technical metadata.
But through data literacy itself, that icon there, were there any enhancements to that particular feature? Or did I ask that correctly?
I think it looks more like a category than a button.
Exactly.
Data literacy is a grouping of these components.
It's a grouping of applications, Don, if that makes sense. So
okay.
Those three apps sit underneath the category of data literacy.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, personally, I think this looks great. I think y'all have done a fantastic job. And if we're looking at mid-November for release, I think that's probably sooner than I would have thought. So that's good.
Question, is there any change to kind of the underlying plumbing, if I can call it that, with respect to connectors and such? For example, if we have existing connectors, will they have to be kind of retrofitted when into this new release?
So yes, so if you're already using any existing connectors, our automation team will ensure that you are ready to so all those connectors are being will be certified from our end on the new release as well. So we will give you the go ahead that you can go ahead and upgrade to the latest release once all the connectors are certified, which is the standard path for any GA rollout. So you as the customer should have zero impact once you upgrade to the latest version.
This is still sitting on top of the same Oracle or SQL Server platform as well?
That is correct. SQL and Oracle, there is no change to the backend database at this point of time.
Got it. You add in whatever tables you need for supporting it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Other questions, folks? Anybody else have feedback in terms of what you're seeing? Anything that that you're surprised about? Anything that you love? Anything that you wish that you had seen? So Kartik can, just make sure he's got all that stuff in the roadmap. And again, anybody that's not comfy, sharing in a one-to-many, certainly can, can provide that feedback directly to us. We are happy to take it and would very much like to have that.
I think it looks great, guys. Thank you for the hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, well, once again, we really thank you guys. We know that everybody's got a lot going on, and lives are super busy. So we thank you for taking an hour to get a pre-look. As Kartik said, would love to have you guys participate in the beta. The more the merrier. I may reach out to one or two of you to ask you if you consider, providing us any kind of a quote for the press release, which is always helpful for us. And we want to continue to solicit your feedback and your engagement in this process, because it's really, really critical to us that that we are both forward looking at what's happening in the industry, and then listening to you in terms of what's happening in the needs and requirements of your own business. So thank you for the continued co-creation and collaboration that we have with you, and again, feel free to go directly back to Kartik on any other ideas or feedback or any questions that you have. We will record this session. There are a number of people on a bunch of different teams that we invited to this preview that did not have the opportunity to attend. So as I said before, I am recording, and we'll be able to make that recording available to them all. So Kartik, thank you for taking everybody through it. Brad, did you have a final question? I see your icon. Sort of blinking.
Yeah, I was just going to see, are we able to get a copy of this presentation so that we can share with others in our organization?
Kartik, all cool with you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I thought it was the recording. I'll share this deck as well. That should not be a
problem.
problem.
Yeah, we'll package it all up and send it out, Brad.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, quick question, guys.
Yes, Dinakar.
Kartik, the BUP restrictions on the data source level, is it on?
In the BUP also, yes, you'll be able to restrict access either by user or role on the metadata environments and the business glossary catalogs or the mapping projects.
So individual source level, project level, we can restrict them to.
You can do. So what you are doing in DI, you'll be able to do that with BUP also with version 10.2.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, again, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be back in touch. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions around what you saw and any other feedback. And we wish you all a terrific rest of the day. So thanks a lot.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marianne, for organizing this, and thank you, everyone. You guys take care. Have a good weekend.